Oh, it's a very, very good evening and a warm welcome from a freezing Johannesburg. It's insane out there. I have to tell you, it's lovely to be in the comfort of this warm studio. There are 9 days left before the elections, and today we focus on one of the thorny municipalities, and that is Tlokwe, with its main seat in Potchefstroom in Northwest. Good to have you back on the show.
Thank you very much, Leanne. And I must say, the Tlokwe issue, I think on our first show, we actually touched on it as well. Doesn't seem to want to go away.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Anyway, it's running out of time. That is, people, of course, they're just 6 days before these special votes are cast. These, of course, on the 1st and 2nd of August, and then obviously on the 3rd being the municipal elections. But as political parties carry on campaigning, voters still have time to make up their minds on who they'll be voting for. Sim?
A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Indeed, it's 9 days, and we wonder how many voters feel prepared for the 3rd of August. And we asked the question on Twitter, hashtag SABC elections. And later on in the program, we'll have a quick look at your reaction. Diane?
All right, now, last week, the IEC reached an agreement with parties in the Tlokwe municipality after a constitutional court ruling on voters' addresses. The commission concluded the second phase of the process and came up with an alternative for the coming elections.
Now, voters need proof of address on the election days. That include Monday and Tuesday. That's, of course, the special voting.
Finally, a solution for Tlokwe ahead of the August 3rd local government elections. Almost all of the 21,000 addresses which were outstanding were sourced, with just over 3,000 voters unaccounted for. The Commission says they have a solution to ensure that all voters will be able to vote.
For those individuals for whom we do not have addresses, we will capture that information as may be incorrectly registered, but their names will appear on the voters' roll. And then when they get to the voting station, they will be offered a form which we call REC1 form. If they've got a conventional address, if they don't have a conventional address, they'll be provided with what we call REC-AS form, and they will therefore capture their details.
But it seems that 3 of the main contenders in Tlokwe have agreed to disagree about the process.
We welcome the idea, but we have our reservations. We have proposed that very clear criteria should be established and agreed upon between all parties on what would be a rejected vote. That means what will not constitute as a proper description or an identifiable address.
We are ready for the 3rd of August. We are happy that everybody will be given an opportunity to vote at the voting district where that person is registered and that person resides.
That mechanism that is going to take more time, about 10 minutes for a voter to verify that thing. 3 envelopes, 3 ballot papers. You have to go from this table to this table, a receipt form from this table to this table, and it's going to eat more time. Remember, this election, like I said, is from 7 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
The IEC says the model used for Tlokwe will form the basis of their efforts to correct the voters' roll nationally. Tsolofelo Matibedi, SABC News, Potchefstroom in Tlokwe.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the program, and when we return, political analyst Professor Andre Duvenach will be talking to us about Tlokwe.
Yes, going to the hot seat with Sim, but I promise you it's not that hot anymore. Stay with us.
Mr. President, thank you for choosing the moon.
Oh, this view is magnificent. This has to be the proudest day of our lives.
Not hungry, huh?
Is he eating?
Nope.
Okay, Commander. Come with me.
Roger,
5 or 10-second countdown.
Eagle looking great, you're go. Roger, looks great, Houston.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Liftoff. You have liftoff.
Health Talk looks into incorrect lifestyles that lead to chronic diseases. It is extremely important to take care of our bodies to a long, healthy life.
Incorrect eating and being inactive then leads to the person becoming overweight and obese.
The kidney is one of the essential organs of our bodies. It keeps us healthy and extracts toxins from our blood.
The kidney controls the blood pressure.
Right.
And if the blood pressure is not normal, then your heart is affected, all the blood vessels in your body is affected.
Dialysis is the only solution to kidney failure. The support of the family is crucial.
What made it possible for me is to accept that I've got kidney failure.
Join your host, Dr. Sidla Mutawung, every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m.
He appealed for the disruptions to come to an end so the future of the children is not compromised.
The union said the latest offer by Eskom will condemn its members to poverty.
Samples from the 2012 London Olympic Games and 2014 Sochi Winter Games will also be retested.
Stay tuned to News Today at 3 p.m. from Monday to Friday on SABC News.
Welcome back, and as we mentioned earlier, today's focus is Tlokwe, and joining us in studio is political analyst Professor Andre Dovenache from the Northwest University in Potchefstroom. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Professor, clearly outline for us the method of verifying the addresses. I mean, is it a workable solution?
Well, at least it is a better solution than we had in the past, where there were a lot of irregularities with regard to the elections, which was proof in court that that was the case. So yes, it is better. I'm not going to say that this is the ideal scenario, but I believe it is a huge improvement, and it is taking the process at least forward in terms of a free and fair election.
It all started when ANC candidates rejected their own mayor and voted for a DA mayor in his absence. But then let's fast forward to a year later for the by-elections, with accusations that the ANC actually bussed in more voters from other areas. What was the root cause of the voters' roll chaos?
Well, basically, a number of illegal voters from surrounding environments came to vote in Tlokwe at that point. And I have seen some of the address lists at that point, and there's no doubt that there were problems in terms of people illegally voting. And as a result of that, we have seen a number of court cases, and the end result is history, and we should have had by-elections shortly before the general elections as a result of that outcome. But they decided to take it directly into the national local elections, and that is where we are at the moment.
Tlokwe is no doubt one of the IEC's headaches. I mean, court case after court case, we've seen violence in the area. Outline for us, what exactly are the challenges facing Tlokwe?
Well, there's a number of challenges. The first important one is that Tlokwe, yet again, is an exception to the general rule. As you mentioned, they need to verify addresses, and people must bring in proof of addresses when they come to vote. In that sense, it is problematic. Then, in another way, it's also problematic because there was a big amalgamation between Potchefstroom and Ventersdorp. And many people argue that this was to the advantage, and is going to be to the advantage of the ANC as the ruling party. In that sense, there's a controversy. And I believe that we are better off, but there are still a number of challenges. We must see the process through. I understand there is the possibility of other court cases going against the IEC. So this is a big test for the IEC under very, very difficult circumstances.
Having said that, Professor, what do you make of such amalgamation?
Well, for me, the amalgamation is problematic because there's a big difference between Ventersdorp as town and Tlokwe, Potchefstroom as city. It is 47 kilometers away from Tlokwe. Ventersdorp is facing major challenges. It is under administration, and I believe that Potchefstroom Tlokwe currently is one of the better managed municipalities. So there are big differences, and opposition parties argue that this was a political decision to amalgamate Potchefstroom Ventersdorp.
Do you see an outright winner in Tlokwe, bearing in mind that Ventersdorp is largely an ANC stronghold? I mean, just a couple of days ago, the ANC did say that they have no history of coalition cooperation, and they don't intend in entering into any coalition whatsoever.
Yes, I heard the same message coming from the ANC. I believe if it was not for the amalgamation, it will be a 50-50 scenario. But bringing the amalgamation into play, my argument will be that this is going to be to the advantage of the ruling party. But still, Tlokwe, Potchefstroom is going to be the biggest challenge for the ANC in Northwest.
All right, Professor, it's been a pleasure having you in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was Professor Andre Duvenache, an analyst from the Northwest University in Potchefstroom.
Innovators all over Africa are using technology to solve the continent's problems.
We looked at all the different startup accelerators, and Hack Josie was born.
And governments are finding new ways to improve the lives of citizens.
We anticipate it will be in a position to handle a capacity of 20,000 logs per second.
On Network, we tell you about Africa's technology and social media scene. That's Network with me, Siphumelele Zondi, every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time.
From the moment you start your day.
My biggest question is how I got myself here on time.
Yeah.
This is so early for a comedian, I gotta be honest.
We are there for you.
We bring your morning into perspective.
As news breaks throughout the morning.
Is an investment into the future of the airports company, but also the future of our children, the future of our country, the future of the transport sector.
We'll make sure that you get the full story.
Give us quality music.
Load shedding. Listen, this winter.
It's a thing of the past.
And you can count on the weather team with expertise.
Join us live at 6 a.m. daily.
David brought back black and white photography to life through the Zanzibar exhibition.
I'm a fanatic for tones, and I love the kind of tones and gradients and the greys, and it never bores me.
We're representing South Africa. I mean, we're flying the flag there, so it's a beautiful thing for us.
The dance floor is always lit when DJ Black Coffee hits the decks. He was praised for his appearance at this year's Coachella Music Festival in California. And he recently bagged the International Achievement Award at the 2016 Summers. Catch trends for that 1-hour weekly dose of arts and entertainment news every Saturday from 12 to 1.
Everybody, it is 6:15 on this cold evening in South Africa. I hope you are safe and well wherever you are, and thank you so much for tuning in and watching. Yeah. Water shortages. Oh, I know this gets the fevers rising for a lot of people. They really are at the heart of these election campaigns in a lot of areas in South Africa, but in Bushbuckridge and in Mpumalanga, there are some residents that are losing hope that the municipality will supply them with any water whatsoever.
Indeed, and however, the outgoing mayor says, well, he's happy with what the municipality has achieved, this of course in the past 5 years.
Located in the Marite River in Bushbuckridge, the Inyaka Dam is a flagship project that was built for irrigation and to supply the locals with safe drinking water. But has it?
When we came in here in 2011, we were armed with a loaded manifesto. There were areas which we wanted to focus on, like the area on basic services, the issue of water, the issue of electricity, the issue of access roads, the issue of public participation, and the issue of making sure that we grow the economy and create more jobs. And I must indicate that we've done a wonderful job in terms of those areas.
But Deniwe Lubisi disagrees. She was attacked by a crocodile while fetching water from a river early this year. The mother of three accuses government of neglecting the community of Belfast.
There is no water. We do not get water at all. We are not even going to vote. Why should we vote?
Lubisi and her neighbors have since found alternative ways of getting water. Even though his term draws to a close, the mayor still adds to a list of his promises.
But in terms of the full plan of Belfast, which I must actually outline, is that we have actually put 24 million. It must be on record. We have put 24 million for water reticulation, every household. It must be on record that we are going to reticulate every household in Belfast.
But these residents say their patience is wearing thin.
On my side, I can't vote. Yeah. Because of water.
As I'm standing here, I can't vote. I can say in our street, we can't vote. If I was here, we can't vote because we are suffering. Like now, I'm dirty. I'm coming to the river, where you cannot stand alone.
This dam was built in the year 2001 with the aim of putting a stop to water shortages. But 15 years later, the municipality is yet to reticulate villages such as Belfast and many others. And with the elections fast approaching, water shortages have become a focal point for many parties such as the EFF and the Bushbuckridge Residents Association, who are also hinting on a possible coalition to unseat the ANC government. Other parts of Bushbuckridge, such as Lilydale and many others, are also water-strapped. Matswela Ngobeni, SABC, Bushbuckridge.
Now, Muyeshe and Giani in Limpopo was identified in 2009 as one of the poorest villages in the country. It lacked basic services such as water, electricity, a clinic, proper roads, and, of course, inadequate housing.
Unemployment and poverty were rife. President Jacob Zuma announced in his State of the Nation address that Muyeshe was declared a pilot project under the Comprehensive Rural Development Program to become an example of how to solve rural problems. Philip van der Walt visited the village to find out how many of those problems have been kept.
Muyeshe is 20 kilometers from Giani and close to the Kruger National Park. It has a population of about 5,500 people. The massive task of uplifting Muyeshe is a multi-departmental effort, and the departments referred us to the provincial spokesperson.
Muyeshe is the state-of-the-art village now. It's a model people's village, and the good lessons that we have learned from there. When we started, you know, there was absolutely no hope in the people there. But today, if you go to Muyeshe, people now believe in promises that are made by government.
We visited on a weekday when people were expected to be at work, but found many strolling in the dusty streets. We asked them if the promises were kept. Janeth Mabutsa have been living here all her life.
Concerning the promises, we don't see anything here in Muyeshe. All we can see is the clinic and the police station that is not getting completed. The road looks like a donga. Things that were supposed to happen here in Muyeshe never happen. There is no money. Another challenge is job opportunities.
Sketu Khoza remembers the president's visit.
Nothing is happening. When he came here, he gave us promises. When he left, nothing was implemented. We were promised the tar road, but we don't see it. They digged the road, but the construction has stopped. We don't have water. We don't have a road.
Putti promises that this will be solved.
We have appointed a contractor for the road. We have put 20 million aside. As we're talking now, we have also put a big pipeline, with a portable purification plant from Sami Dam to supply the people of Moeshe, because 9 of their boreholes have been tested and the water is not fit for human consumption.
But Janeth insists that it is not true. Residents were all given water tanks for their houses, but they are not connected to any borehole or pipeline. They buy water at R2 a container from self-employed young men with a donkey cart. And she told us about the danger of wild animals.
When they are saying we have water, they are telling lies. We don't have water. We fetch water in the bushes. We fear that we might come across lions and elephants in the bushes that might kill us while we are fetching water.
Here in Moeshe, RDP houses and a big and modern clinic were built. The police station is in a RDP house, but a new one is nearing completion. Residents say crimes like housebreaking, rape and even murder has gone down. There is a school, a library, a sports ground without the promised stadium, a computer center which is not functioning, and they're about to build a community hall. All of these are signs of development and progress. So is the number of new houses being built by residents. Apparently they belong to those who work in Gauteng, as there is no work in Moeshe. Some women are employed at a brick-making business. Some women work at a vegetable garden. Hard work for little money. Some people try to make a living from whatever they can make. Others live on grants. In Moeshe, life is not easy. But there are promises that it will improve. Philip van der Walt, SABC, Moeshe.
Sure. All right, interesting piece there. Thanks very much for Philip van der Walt for putting that together for us. In Mswazi in the northwest, another small party, the Lebaleng Communist Party, contests the election. It promises voters job opportunities and better services.
Now, the municipality relies heavily on farming, and the last year's drought has caused many farm workers to lose their jobs.
As the LCP, for this upcoming election, we are going to focus on the issue related to unemployment. As we know, in Mswazi Hills as a whole, there is a crisis of unemployment, more especially on youth. So for this, we are going to try our best to come with solution on how we are going to create work for us in Mswazi Hills, so that the youth of this Mswazi Hills must benefit. Because what we are seeing, in fact, is that because of unemployment, young people are become involved in criminal activities, meaning that now the rate of crime become higher.
All right, earlier we asked you on Twitter whether you're ready to vote, and we got a few straight yeses, and some even say that they can't wait, and others are worried about politicians and empty promises, and of course lies. But we want to make sure that you make informed choices. Let's go to our last story of the day.
Mswazi is a small, impoverished town in Wolmaranstad in the northwest. Here, poor service delivery is a major challenge. People live in the most dreadful conditions, yet housing projects are incomplete for years. Mataranta Informal Settlement is one of the poorest areas of this town. There are no basic services such as water, electricity, and sanitation. The residents say they have lost faith in the local municipality. They are adamant that it is time for change in governance.
There are no changes, but I've been voting.
I've been voting and voting, but I see no change. My ID is full from voting. I have about 6 voting stamps, but my life is still the same. Not much has changed.
I'm not going to vote for ANC. I'm not going to vote for DA. I'm not going to vote for EFF. I'm not going to vote for Lebaleng Communist Party, but I'm going to vote for Forum for Service Delivery, as it's a community forum. And the community is the one that needs service delivery, not political parties.
This open space is what the residents call their toilet. But at night, it becomes very dark, making it very dangerous for women and children. And so the residents end up dumping in front of their own yards. This has led to many of them falling sick.
This place is very dirty. We go far to get water. We don't have electricity and toilets. We use buckets in our homes. We have to dump outside, and that's sad to see how we live. I've been having TB even now in April.
People dump anything here in front of our shacks. That's how I got TB.
All over around Mona.
The local municipality has acknowledged these challenges.
This is the challenge that we are faced with as a municipality of Mswazi Hills, that yes, we are trying so hard to make sure that our people are getting services a bit on time. We can't say always we are on time, but in Lebaleng, Matlarantla is a very new informal settlement where we need to make sure that also they are given the services.
Meanwhile, opposition parties say there are more service delivery concerns than meets the eye.
I can say we as the opposition is not happy with the service delivery. For example, refuse collection is not taken on a daily basis as people are being charged. For example, in Mswazi town, people are being charged for sewer, and it's like a system that they must still suck the septic tanks. They are paying a monthly fee for that, but it's not been done on a monthly basis.
Youth unemployment is also rife in this area. New and emerging political parties have promised to offer better services and job opportunities.
We are going to focus on the issue related to unemployment. As we know, in Mswazi Hills as a whole, there is a crisis of unemployment, more especially on youth.
Despite the emerging of new political parties and independent candidates, the ANC remains confident that it will retain victory in this area in the upcoming local government elections.
People of Mswazi Hills, in particular Ward 9, they are happy, they are going to vote for the ANC. In terms of these new mushrooming political parties, we don't fear them. They are nothing to us. The ANC will win. In fact, come the 3rd of August 2016, people of Mswazi will vote for African National Congress.
In the meantime, the residents still have time to decide who will win their vote. Silwan Khachau, SABC in Mswazi in the Northwest.
That's the show for tonight. Catch us again tomorrow, same time, same place, SABC News Channel 404, and of course our sister channel, SABC 2.
Yeah, and just our thoughts go out to those in Tembisa this evening. We're just hearing reports of the tornado that was there, and of course a lot of people, we're hearing 20 people injured by that. But